loan occurs. Final disbursement. So that's the loans domain that we are going to speak about. Now, tell me in the chat window, guys, very quickly tell me in the chat window, what are the key components that you feel should be a part of a loan application? In the meantime, I was not able to share this presentation, and I'll try to share it once again so that people who have not noted this down can note it. Steps in a loan application. All of this, which I just mentioned and explained to you. And key components of the loan application, which many of you have already listed. Okay, government ID documents, good, Brajendra. And we have Balaji talking about the documentation. So some of the key components that you'll find frequently in loan applications is, of course, your personal information, the loan details, financial information, credit history, and some supporting documents. Now, supporting documents will vary based on the type of loan that you're talking about. Okay, the type of loan the applicant has applied for. Okay, so when it comes to the lendings domain, loan processing applications are relatively complex applications in the IT industry. Okay, and many of you have written several supporting documents that they had provided to their bank. Yes, it all depends depending upon the type of the loan that you have applied for. A bunch of supporting documents will be asked by your bank. So we saw there are different types of loans. We saw what exactly is the process, the step-by-step process, and we also saw a couple of documents, a couple of evidences that banks usually ask for when they want to provide loan to a particular borrower. What we are going to see, we are going to see a business requirement, okay, and how that business requirement can be converted to a functional requirement. So we see a small, like I always mention in my classes, business requirements are always given at a very high level. Okay, so these are high level statements, goal statements, and you will see most of the business requirements which come from the customer do not have enough information that your technical team can take to implementation. Okay, that's the reason a BA is required to flesh out the right information. Okay, so I'm going to share a document in some time, and that will provide you a step-by-step guidance as to how you can convert a business requirement into functional requirement. How many of you would like that? How many would love to have a very quick, ready-to-use, fill-in-the-blanks kind of a template that can help you convert a business requirement into functional requirement? So today I was working on this to create a very easy to use template for each one of you. Let me bring it up quickly. Give me a second. Here. Now, business requirement for a loan application. This is a business requirement for a loan application, which says that the system should allow users to submit loan applications online. And this feature aims to streamline the loan application process, reduce paperwork, provide user-friendly interface, and it also enables users to apply for loans online, ensuring a faster and more efficient process. So if you see, the business requirement is continuously revolving around the objectives that they want to achieve. Okay, they want to reduce paperwork, they want a user-friendly interface, and they want to streamline the loan application process. Okay, and a couple of features that the client has included is the user registration and authentication, the loan application form, document upload, application status tracking, and notification and alerts. Now, a loan processing application will have several more features. For the sake of simplicity, I have just brought in these 5 features so that you can focus your attention on these 5 features, okay? So these 5 features have been listed and the business objective behind having these features have been listed. Now tell me in the chat window, using this information that's given by the client, can your technical team go ahead and develop this loan application, this loan application submission process? Can they do it end to end? No. Many of you have said no. That's correct. So what's the information that's lacking, guys? What is that information that's lacking? What is that information? When you have that information, it will help you better do justice to this requirement. Functional details, okay. Functional requirement. So that's what we are going to see. Now, as a BA, when you are converting a business requirement into functional requirement, there are several rounds of meetings that you need to have with the customer. We can't assume and write a functional requirement. So that's exactly what some of my students who are part of the Capstone project, they are going to do as part of the compliance project. They are going to meet up with the bank SME tomorrow, and they are going to have a round of discussion to understand how the business requirements, how the high level features that we have identified for the compliance process, how that can be converted into functional requirements. Okay, so understand the business requirement that is given by the client. In order to convert it into the functional requirement, there needs to be a requirement gathering process. You need to have sometimes multiple rounds of discussion with the client to get clarity. Okay, so now in our case study, considering the fact that those rounds of discussion with the client has already been done, how does a BA proceed to write requirements, functional requirements, which can be given to the technical team to develop the loan application? Okay, so here is an example that I have written for you so that you can look at this example and complete the assignment that I'm going to give in some time. Okay, so we are talking about the first feature, user registration. So let's say Rajendra here met up with the client from the bank, and he had a round of discussion with the customer to understand what are the key things that he expects in the user's registration. Okay, user registration form. Once he got all of that information, he then proceeded to write the functional requirement, write the functional flow of the requirement. What are the key components of a functional requirement is something that you will see here. First component, the functional flow. And then comes the negative scenarios. First, let's look at the functional flow. So here Rajendra has written that the user shall click on apply for loans link on the homepage of the website, and the system shall provide a registration form for the new user. The registration form will include the following mandatory fields: name, email address, phone number, loan amount, tenure, and password. And the user clicks on submit. Upon successful registration, the system will send a confirmation email with a verification link to verify the email. User must verify their email address to activate their account. Okay. Couple of negative scenarios that are listed here. Scenario number 1, the user leaves any of the field blank, or you can mention the name of the field also if it's a specific field. In our case, we are considering that all the fields that are asked are mandatory. The user leaves a field blank, the system displays a message. The fields marked with an asterisk symbol are mandatory. The user enters invalid email address, system displays a message, email address is invalid. Scenario number 3, the user enters a phone number less than 10 digits long. the system displays a message, the phone number cannot be less than 10 digits. Okay. So these are the requirements written, functional requirements written for user registration module. Okay. So if you see key components that a functional requirement should have, it should include the complete functional flow, negative scenarios, any rules, any business rules that should be indicated, that should be a part of it. If there are different types of users as accessing your application, definitely indicate that. You know, when you put all of this information together, it becomes enough information for your technical team to start developing the screen. Okay, so this is a functional requirement example of how a business requirement which was given by the customer was converted to a functional requirement. I'm going to unmute everyone for some time so that if you have any specific questions related to this, you can ask. Did you understand this particular concept that I brought to the table? Business requirement, functional requirement. Are there any doubts? You can go ahead and ask. Because you're going to do a similar kind of an activity right now. For you to do that activity, if there is some confusion in your head, clarify it right now. Now, we are good to go for the activity. Okay, no doubts. That's good.
Sajana, I got a question.
Yes.
In this scenario, we discuss about a functional requirement, like how the functional, how the workflow goes, discussing about the requirement, then whatever negative things are there. Had it been the case about technical requirement, which is totally different from functional, will it the mix of functional requirement and then some technical specification that needs to be depicted there in the given document, or technical requirement something different compared to function? Yeah.
Give me an example of what you're talking about.
Suppose had in the case about any kind of programming language that needs to be integrated, and the client just want to discuss about the requirement, how the programming has to be there in the application.
No, the client never discusses programming with you. Why will the client discuss that? They are non-technical people. You are from the technology side, right? You are representing a technology company. As a PA, you will be hired by a technology company, and you will be developing a software for either a bank or an insurance company, whoever is your client.
Right. But does FRD have anything to do with this? Because FRD people, FRD is something dealt with by the IT, like a technical team.
No. The reason it is called the functional requirement document is because it contains a functional flow. It does not contain any technicalities.
Okay. Okay, I think clear.
In terms of the programming language and the technical architecture, the client has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It is your technical team who will decide that, because they are the technology experts. You as a BA also will not decide that, because you don't have the background or competency to decide that. You are there in the project because you are the best person who can understand the client's language, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
You can speak the client's language because he is also non-technical and you are also non-technical. Whereas if your technical team speaks to the business, it is Greek and Latin for them. Because then the technical team will always talk about in terms of database, we will store it this way, we will validate it, and we'll run some queries in the backend, and the client is all confused. For them, it's none of their business about what you're doing with the code in the backend. They need a proper output.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense, right? They need an application that can help them add the details that they're looking for adding, all the loan details or whatever details that they want to. So they want an interface that can facilitate that kind of a data entry. They want an interface that can give them reports, dashboards. How the application is doing it It's none of their business. They don't want to know. That's the reason
Okay.
they hire a company as a technology expert, because they can decide how to do it, because they themselves can't develop that application, right? So they need a
Right.
technology expert. And from the technology company, you are front ending, because you can understand the client's language. You can understand what his business needs are.
Right.
So you understand the end-to-end lending process, the loan process. So you can explain it to the technical team. The technical team will go ahead and develop whatever you ask them to develop. So if you tell them that in the loan application form, 25 fields have to be added, they will go and blindly add the 25 fields. They've not asked, oh, whether this field is actually required. They're not going to ask you that. As a BA, if you have asked them to add 25, 45 fields, they will go ahead and add it. But as a BA, you will ask the customer that which of these fields are actually required in the loan application process, because you understand their business,
Right.
right? So if they are giving you wrong information, you will be able to guide them in a better process, better way.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Sajana, this is Balaji.
Yes.
Whether this document, as it is a functional flow, we can include this flow diagrams and all, right? Or prototypes can be added in the document.
Yes, yes. If you're doing mockups, yes. So what I have given you is not an FRD template. Don't get confused with that. What I showed you right now is an activity sheet that I've created, so that you can practice writing it. It's not an FRD template. Your FRD template will have proper sections, like, you start with the business objective, you write a little about the project background, and then you write about the scope of the project, and then you start writing the functional requirements. So those different sections are there. This is not an FRD template. This is an activity sheet that I've created so that you can practice writing the requirements, and then you make sense to copy paste it in a proper FRD template, a formal template, isn't it?
Understood.
So what I have done for you guys, in this activity sheet below, let me just once again share my screen. The activity sheet below, just like how I had done for user registration, in the activity sheet, I have created another functional requirement, a very simple one, user login process. You all know about the user login process, right? And I have made it fill in the blanks for you, because many of you, I figured out are writing to me that, should we use shall, will, should, and how the sentence formulation should be. So I made it very simple for you. Instead of thinking how to frame the sentence, just fill in the blanks. Okay, just fill in the blanks here, visualizing the flow, thinking about what the user is going to click on, what is the kind of data he's going to enter, and after that, what is going to happen. So visual thinking skills for a BA is very, very important, guys. Okay, so using your visual thinking skills, you're going to fill in this blank, write down these negative scenarios, just like I wrote for the registration page. You can use that format and write for the login page. Okay, so I've mentioned also negative scenario means all the things that can go wrong. Okay, first is your positive flow, and after that comes your negative scenarios. Once you are done with it, then we will discuss about the loan application form. Okay, so we are doing authentication right now, a very small exercise to complete the authentication part of it. Okay, to understand how user authenticate, how you can write a functional flow for our authentication module, after which we'll proceed to the larger module, loan application. So complete a small exercise, and then we will take it to the next level. As a home assignment, you can do a loan application form, a fully blown loan application form. So let me just share this document in the chat window. No, I'm sending you this document in the chat window, Bala. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Let me quickly get the document. It's here. You can download this, start downloading this, so that you can practice to write functional requirements. As you guys move to the activity rooms, I will also end our YouTube live. So that brings us to the end of our YouTube live. Some of our subscribers were viewing this session online. They also wanted to know how to convert business requirements to functional requirements. So goodbye to our YouTube subscribers. Let me just stop this and we will get on with